Hello beauty gurus, this video is going to be a little bit different than the videos that you are used to, my makeup tutorials. This one is actually going to be how I install my wigs. This video is beginner friendly, so stay tuned if you are new to wigs. So jumping right into it, I'm going to take my Styler Gel Argan Oil hair gel and I'm going to apply this to the perimeter of my hairline. So I will be applying this from ear to ear, so all on the sides, all on the top, and I'm going to apply a generous amount of that. Then I'm going to take this hard comb from Kim C and I'm going to use the hard side and I'm just going to brush my hair back to get all of my hair and my baby hairs kind of slicked down so that I can put a bald cap over it later. So once all my baby hairs are gelled down, I take the Kim C Make Your Own Wig Stocking Cap. This is in the shade light brown. I find this shade is very similar to my skin tone already. I love this wig cap because it is thin and absolutely transparent. So if you are doing any kind of modifications, if you're cutting it, it's not a huge hassle. This is just it compared to my skin tone. As you can see, I kind of turned it inside out and then I placed it just how far down I wanted it to come onto my forehead. And then in the next scene, you'll see me pull it over my ears just to kind of like create for a better bald cap. So once that's secured onto my head, I take a pair of scissors. This is a pair of hair cutting scissors, in case you're wondering. I try not to do it with kitchen scissors because they're a little too big. I go from the inside of the bald cap and I cut outwards and I just make a hole small enough to fit my ear through. It's okay if you get a little bit of a run in the stocking. You're not going to see that part once you go to part the hair because this wig is a 13x4 that I'm going to be installing. After I've got my ears through the holes of the wig cap that I cut, I take the Got2b Ultra Glue. This is the black hair gel. A lot of people use the yellow one as well, but I prefer to use the black one just because I like the hold that it gives me. I apply a generous amount of this as well. I put a lot on because I really want that stocking cap to stay in place, and I pull it on to my hair strands as well so that I get a more secure glue than just gluing it to my forehead. So that's what you see me doing here. I do apply it all over the perimeter of my hairline from ear to ear just because I really want that wig cap to stay glued on. This scene, I'm just taking a hair dryer to help speed up the process of drying time. You can wait for it to air dry, I just don't have the patience for that. So once the gel has completely dried, I take the Got2b Glued Freezing Blasting Spray as well. I spray that all along the perimeter of my hairline, and then I will go in with a hair dryer as well just to secure this wig cap in place and make sure that it doesn't slide back or move. I plan on wearing this wig for a few days, so I just want to make sure that I have the strongest glue possible. This step is not necessary, but I do think it's great if you are somebody who intends on sleeping in your wig. Alright, you see that I am so excited. I'm holding the pair of scissors. I'm going to go in and cut off those ear tabs. So I'm just cutting around the perimeter of my hairline again. I'm gonna do a rough cut at first, and then I'm gonna go and do a detailed cut a little closer to my hairline. How I do that is I peel back the stocking cap and I just cut little bit by little bit, and I try to get it as close to my hairline as possible. So that's what you see me doing here. I'd noticed that a few of my baby hairs did peek out. I have really low baby hairs, so for anyone who has the same, you might run into this issue. I try not to worry about it too much because sometimes when I place the lace over the little bit of baby hair that's peeking out, it's not really going to be noticeable. So my next step is I'm going to take the LA Girl Pro Face HD powder, and this is in the shade Warm Caramel, I believe. And I took a powder brush. A lot of people do this part with liquid foundation. I like doing it with powder just because it's easier to clean out of my hair once I go into the shower and I do uninstall the wig. So I'm just going to pat that powder all around my hairline, I'm going to take it all the way up to the scalp, so I'm covering anywhere where you see black hair. I don't need the hair to be completely covered, like I don't need an opaque layer, but I try to cover it enough so that it looks like a bald scalp. So you really just want to aim to have no black hair showing underneath. This is actually the wig from my last video. It is from MoonMagic, and it is in a nice cinnamon kind of like burgundy mixed with a ginger blonde undertone. So it's not necessarily like a cool burgundy. I don't think I look great in cool burgundy, so I picked this warmer tone wig. This is me just adjusting it to my head and making sure that I like the way it fits, that the lace falls where I need it to fall. I took a pair of scissors and I cut the lace part into 3 just so it was easier to glue to my head because I like to do it in sections. And then I flipped the lace parting kind of like inside out so that I have access to the edge of the bald cap. So I don't know if my camera quite focused here, but this is the Ghost Bond XL. So this is the water resistant and oil resistant formula. So I take a little bit of that and I dab it across the front of my hairline. You can see me putting on kind of like little dots. You don't have to put this much. I just like putting a lot because my head's kind of big and it's got a little bit of a tug, so I kind of need a lot of glue in order to glue the cap to my head. So I'm taking my rat tail comb and I am just massaging the glue down so that it creates a kind of a thin barricade. I just wiped off a little with my finger. I don't recommend to do that because it does get quite sticky once it dries. It gets really tacky. I try to go in the same direction as the stocking cap so that I don't lift it, and then I take a hair dryer to it and I wait till it gets semi-transparent and then I place the lace over it. So once the glue gets a little bit tacky, I pull the hairline of the wig as close as possible to my natural hairline or to the hairline that I created with the bald cap. And then I kind of just push it down with my finger, and then I take a comb. I actually end up using the same comb that I was using in the last scene, and I just kind of massage it into my scalp and make sure that the glue like really sticks down and there's no lifting. So it's a really easy process. You end up just putting on the same glue, using the same kind of technique for both sides. I just find that if you're a beginner or if you have a larger head like myself, it is much easier to do it in sections. Again, I'm going in with the hair dryer, waiting till it gets kind of semi-transparent, and then I'm gonna place that lace right over where I placed the glue. And this is a better shot of me taking that comb and pushing it into my skin. So yeah, you want to repeat the process. Same thing that you did to the front of your hairline and the side of your hairline, you're going to do to this side of your hairline. So once I've glued the entire proximity of the hairline down and that lace is sticking nice and firm, what I do is I brush back all the hair, and then I take an edge scarf and I wrap it around my head and I leave it for about 10 to 15 minutes. This part you don't have to do. You could totally go in and just blow with a hair dryer for 10 to 15 minutes. I do both just because I want it to stay snug and I really want this to melt into my hairline. So after about 10 to 15 minutes of blow drying, I am ready to take off that scarf, and I'm going to take that same pair of scissors that I was using earlier. I'm just brushing the hair back to get all the hair out of the way, and I'm gonna cut off all the excess lace that I do not need. So again, you want to trim just as close to the hairline as you can get without actually cutting into it. Next, I'm just going to define my part. I'm going for a middle part just because I think it suits my face a lot better than side parts. And I am taking out my edges so that I can cut them and lay them down. I cut edges into both sides. I really just wanted to sleek them down and create a few baby hairs to help camouflage the hairline. I took my Tint Edges Gel. That is my favorite Edges Gel. It's called the True Edge. It is not flaky. That Edges Gel is water-based, so it doesn't have a lot of cakey ingredients that are going to create a big buildup in your hair. A lot of people do this step with setting mousse, but I prefer to do it with Edges Gel just because I get a stronger hold, and sometimes my baby hairs are stubborn to lay. I find that especially when I'm using a synthetic wig, but in this case, this one is human. So I wrapped my hair again in the Edges scarf, and I am taking a blow dryer to it. You don't have to use a blow dryer. You can just sleep on it, or you can wait for it to air dry. I don't like doing that. I'm taking my She Is Bomb wax stick, and I am just separating my hairline from the baby hairs, and I'm kind of applying it in a backwards motion so that when I go in with my hot comb, I can get a better lift and a better volume. I'm not a fan of when the hair lays too flat on my face, so that is why I'm taking the hot comb to the hair. It laid pretty flat already, but I think that it just needed a little bit of an extra push. So I'm brushing outwards away from my face, and I'm doing kind of like a curling motion with the hot comb in order to get those hairs to stay up straight. And then now you can see it's not laying as flat, it's a little bit away from my face, which I actually really like. You're gonna want to do that to both sides. That's just me doing the other side to make things look a little bit even. And now I'm taking a pair of tweezers. So it is crucial to have a pair of tweezers handy whenever you put on a lace front, because you're always going to want to alter the hairline to make it look more realistic. So that's what you see me doing here. I'm just plucking away the hairs to make the hair part wider. I have a rounder face, so sometimes I think a wider part looks a little bit more not only natural, but it suits somebody who has my face shape a little bit better. So at this point, you should be perfectly melted. Your hair should look completely natural, or at least the most natural that it can. And I hope that you guys all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you all next time.